What's up, PlayStation? What's up, YouTube? The council is back with another interview. Here we are interviewing Mr. David Jaffe, and we're going to be we're going to be talking about Drawn to Death, a game that I personally love, desire, and I'm just waiting for this release date to come. And hopefully you guys can get your hands on this game as well, and it'll get you guys interested in the game after listening to this interview. But let's do our introductions real quick. We got my man, Mr. Official VG. What is good, man?
What is going on, world? Happy to be here with the great David Jaffe and the rest of my What's Up PlayStation family. Definitely looking forward to this interview.
And Michi.
Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Michi Battle. Thank you, Mr. Jaffe, for stopping by for a few minutes. Hopefully we can make this entertaining for everybody, and we can get you interested in this game.
And Mr. David Jaffe himself.
Hey, you guys, it is really cool to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys about games and whatever y'all want to talk about. I always like chat.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure, you taking your time, to come on, this hangout and just talk about your game. Because honestly, like I said, I feel like this game has a lot of potential, and I just want a lot of people, to be knowledgeable about the game, because a lot of people are looking for, that competitive kind of third-person shooter, and I think this is the one, to look out for.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's been a real interesting, challenge so far, is getting people to really, not understand, not kind of implying what we're making is so exotic that it's hard to get your head around, but just communicating to people what it is we're trying to make. And there's a lot of people who look at the game and don't quite understand from the way that we're communicating what it is. So yeah, no, I like that you guys like it. That's exciting to hear.
Yeah, for sure. But first question I gotta ask you, Mr. Jaffe, is the Bartlet Jones Supernatural Detective Agency. How did you guys come up with that name for that studio?
So it's basically a man named Bartlet Jones is Nick Cornelius, who co-owns the company with me. We were going, hey, let's start this video game company, and we met Bartlet, who actually is a real guy who does paranormal investigation, and he was looking to get sort of to diversify. He's an old guy. He's like 76 or so. Did I lose you guys? Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, sorry, the sound cut off. So he's like 76. He's been around. And anyway, he's been looking to sort of spread out his company offerings, and so we basically were like, he funded the pitch basically in the first kind of X amount of money of developing the game, and we kind of merged our companies together. So he does his paranormal investigation stuff, and we make video games, and they're upstairs and we're downstairs. And it's not like we go off ghost hunting. That's what they do. But it's just that's the name of his company, and we sort of merged the company we were making with his company.
Oh, nice. Because that had me a little bit wondering, like, how did they get this name, Bartlet Jones?
Yeah, no, it's if you go online, I mean, there's stuff about him, and we've actually, if you ever come to the office, there's like a handful of relics from sort of his. I love fantastical stuff, and I tell him all the time when I see him. He's usually in Peru, but when he's here, I'm always like, I want to believe this stuff. My parents died in the last 5 years. I love the idea that there's a way to connect with them and all that. And I just love ghost stories and stuff. But I walk around going, I don't know if I really believe in all of it. But the guy's been able to make a career over fucking 40, 50 years doing this stuff. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there. But it's cool. It's cool regardless.
Okay, that's cool.
All right, I got a question for you, Mr. Jaffe. Okay. From what I've seen and what I've played when Drawn to Death, it's pretty much a pretty uncensored game.
Yeah.
So, were there any limits, or were there any boundaries where you were like, nah, we're not going to go this far? Because it seems like you guys had a lot of freedom.
Yeah, I mean, so and we're still struggling with tone. Like we're not out yet, and there are some things I still go. Not have we pushed it too far because it is the tone of it is a genuine attempt to reflect an authentic look at. Not that we're making an art piece; it's a commercial action game, but we did want it to feel authentic. That you're talking about sort of the doodlings and drawings and fantasies and nightmares of just a typical 16, 17-year-old kid in high school. And so, in that way, he's going to be drawing naked ladies. He's going to be drawing excessive violence. He's not going to be really censoring himself and when it comes to sort of the things he doodles. And to be fair, I mean, to us, that's part of the appeal of the concept, part of the concept's appeal. So the two things that we do struggle with is one is, I know we're going to come out and we're going to get a group of fans, or not fans actually, a group of players who think that we're trying hard or trying too hard to be edgy or cool, which I always, that's one of the biggest, I hate that criticism about our game, and even me, I cuss a lot, and I have since I was a little kid, and a lot of people are like, oh, Jaffe thinks he's cool because he's cussing, and I'm just like, dude, I'm the last person on the planet that thinks he's cool. I just happen to cuss because that's how I was brought up. That's really all it is. And so I never want people to look at our game and feel that it thinks it's trying to be cool. And so we may adjust the tone here and there and make sure that some of those places that people have accused us of being too try-hard we're able to deal with. And then there are some things where, maybe we go a little far and some members of our staff are like, okay, that's just obnoxious. And we'll pull it back. I'll give you an example. Tobin is one of our senior designers and did a lot of the, if not most, of the level design of the game. And there was a billboard in the game that has the stripper on it. And all of our billboards and stuff are interactive, so you can shoot them and they'll do funny things and have payoffs. But in this case, Tobin he made it so that you shoot the stripper and her breasts get revealed, and then he has her breast shooting milk out of her boobs into the actual level. So this wasn't just art; it was a three-dimensional stream of milk coming out of this lady's breast and landing in the middle of the level. Right. So people on the team saw it and said, "Okay, that's probably a little too much." But not because it was offensive so much as it just kind of felt like it went off tone to the point that it didn't feel like something this kid would draw. So in terms of the freedom that we've gotten from Sony to express what we feel this kid would draw, that's been really wonderful. It allows us to kind of take a genuine look at this kid's life. But, we as a team have stepped in from time to time and felt we've crossed the line. But for the most part, we've had a great deal of freedom to really try to authentically reflect this kid's life.
Yeah, I would just like to let you know that as a person who's probably twice the age of a teen, I relate very well to your game.
Oh, cool. Well, I love hearing you say that. I mean, that's the real question too. Is it going to connect to people who are still in high school or people who are like out of high school, and it reminds them of that time. So who knows? But that's nice to hear.
Nice. I have two questions for you, Mr. David Jaffe.
Yeah, please just call me Dave, but I would appreciate that.
Dave, I'm being so formal. But gameplay-wise, how are you guys looking to bring in the casual gamer? And let's go to the opposite side of the spectrum. With the competitive scene, are you guys looking to get into that with Drawn to Death? Because skill looks like it's one of the main priorities of this game. You got to have skill. You got to memorize the maps. It's not like you're cheesing your way through it. But are you guys looking into esports and stuff like that? But the casual gamer as well. How are you guys looking to bring them in?
We have a pretty robust training mode. But if you're a casual player, you're probably going to skip that. That really, not that they should skip it, but just because if you're casual, you're like, fuck this, I just want to jump in and play. So, that is absolutely a weakness in our game, and I don't think we're going to solve it. We're getting better at it, but it is intentionally a hardcore competitive game, and it's designed to be that. It doesn't mean that you can't. We have friendly mode where you can play just with your friends. We have unranked mode where we do a lot with handicapping. So like the ranked mode, there's no handicapping, but in unranked mode, we make sure that if you are far away from the other people you're playing against in terms of skill, we give you buffs on your attacks and we nerf their attacks. And we're very transparent about it. Like you'll see numbers coming off the enemy, and if they're a different color, you know that they're being nerfed or buffed and stuff. And we definitely want people to have an easy end to the game. But fundamentally speaking, it's like I would never claim that we're anywhere near as good as Street Fighter. But it's a similar thing that if you drop somebody in front of Tekken or Street Fighter or Virtual Fighter, it's not a casual experience unless you're playing against somebody who's never played it either. It's meant to be competitive, and it's meant to be skill-based, and it's meant to be one of those games that makes you feel great because you're mastering your character, and you're mastering, like you said, learning the map and the weapons, and sort of the meta aspect of the game in terms of which weapons you choose to bring into the map and what hand attacks you choose to use at the right time. It's really, I wanted us to make a competitive skill-based game, and with that, you definitely, it necessitates a barrier between you and the most casual players, and that's something that we just know is going to be, a challenge for us in terms of getting people to come. In terms of competitive, it's funny. I mean, the very first game I ever worked on that had multiplayer was Twisted Metal 1 back in 1995. It was split screen, and the same philosophy that we had then is the philosophy we have now, which is, esports is great, professional gaming is great, but we're always trying to make, when we're doing multiplayer, whether it's this or Calling All Cars or Twisted Metal, we're always trying to make games that are competitive and fair and balanced and allow people who have a better understanding of the game's mechanics to do better than those that don't. And so I don't look at the world of esports just because it's come up as this big force now and say, oh, we have to chase that. For us, we're making a competitive skill-based game, and if people choose to want to watch it and compete outside of just amongst people online that they happen to find through matchmaking, sure, that would be awesome. But we're still doing the same job, which is let's make a really fun, competitive, skill-based game. And the rest, the chips fall where they may after that.
That's good. That's good. Because I definitely see like a esport-esque type game here. Something is there cooking with the esport aspect in it. But yeah, for sure, the fun aspect is always going to be trumps it all.
Well, no, I mean I don't think just the fun. I mean the competitive aspect. But I guess what I'm saying is, whether esports was a thing or not, we haven't done anything different when it comes to our game-making philosophy on this game than we did on Twisted Metal 2 split-screen multiplayer, which is it's got to be fair, it's got to be skill-based, it's got to reward players who have a deeper understanding of the play mechanics. At that point, the esports stuff, it tends to be an organic thing for the most part, where enough players get into it, and it kind of becomes the game that people stream, it becomes the game people want to compete and have cash prizes and stuff. Of course, that would be awesome, but that's never the goal. The goal is to make a competitive, skill-based game, and hopefully people will want to play it.
Okay.
That's definitely what's up. One question that I do have for you, and I think I may have asked on the forums or whatnot one time, but I may have not gotten back to it. But were there like any plans to like maybe add in like split screen or anything like that? At least like maybe 2-player split screen or 4-player split screen?
Man, we would love that. We would absolutely love that, and like a bunch of us on the team have been asking for that. The problem is right now we're not that big of a team. Okay. We're running in Unity, which is just able to basically express the game vision that we have in terms of frame rate and things like that, even though we are on PS4. And so down the road, if the game is successful enough, I think we would absolutely love to break off a small group and add a split screen component. But it's something we all want, but it's we just don't have the team size to tackle that problem, which right now is a pretty big problem given the size and the complexity of the levels, and that we are running on Unity, which is a great engine, but comparatively speaking to something like Unreal or something, it would take a lot of refactoring to get it to run at 60 in split screen at the moment. But we would love it. And if we're so fortunate, we definitely will do it.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that like I said, I had asked on the forum you and I before, and stuff like that, and I just never got back around to it. But I mean, hopefully in the future, if it does successful, which I think it will, because it's a free to play, and I think a lot of the free to plays on PlayStation do pretty good. Hopefully you guys can get a chance to implement something like that.
Yeah, we would love it. Totally agree. Love that.
Yeah. Also, another question. I know it's probably small, but it means a lot for guys like me. When a game does release, are there any plans for any PlayStation avatars or dynamic theme or something to go along with it? Something like that?
At the moment, no. Not for any reason other than we honestly just haven't thought about it. I will check with as soon as I get off this call. I'll check with Nick and see what we can do about doing some avatars.
Yeah, that and a Share Factory theme. That'd be cool too.
Oh, a Share Factory theme would be awesome.
Yeah, okay, man.
Let me write that down. Hang on.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I would like to do, because I made a few videos when I first got in the beta, but I really thought it would have been cool, just to have a Share Factory theme to kind of go along with, the videos, because even though it's still in a testing phase and whatnot, and it's limited access, there is a community there. That's one thing I've seen from the forums and stuff like that, is the community is definitely as vocal, and I think that's something that the community, if nobody has even made a forum post about it, I think that's something that they definitely appreciate.
I gotta be honest with you, the avatars I knew about. I did not know that Share Factory themes, I knew that there were different themes, but I wasn't aware that individual games had their own. I just kind of figured PlayStation put out a template, 10 or 15 templates. I didn't know there were any game-centric ones.
Oh, yeah. Share Factory is a huge deal.
What's the guy name who's over at Share Factory? Stuart Platt? I message him on Twitter a lot, and I know he always tells me, if it's something that I want, to message the dev. So,
going
over drawing the dev.
I had no idea you could do. I watch YouTube clips people make from Share Factory, but they're usually those 10 or 15 generic. There's the graveyard one, and there's the metal plate slamming down one. I didn't know that there were game specific ones that they made. That's cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And Twisted Metal thing.
Oh, with the transition of that boy that's kill you, that would be dope as hell.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that is. There you go. That's our art director's son, actually. So I'm sure we can talk him into it.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question for you. Which character screams out, "I am David Jaffe" on the video game?
You're talking metaphorically, or do you mean is there actually a taunt? There's a taunt in the game that says Jaffe is your god. That any of the characters. It's metaphorically. Okay, gotcha. Every single one of them. I mean, everybody, the game starts as my vision very quickly, as it should. It becomes the team's vision to the point that you can't see where you start in the team, or somebody on the team, picks it up and then they fold into someone else. But so I imagine they would give you a similar answer, at least the people who are working on the characters, from the programmers to the concept artists. But certainly, every game I've worked on, including this one, is there's definitely a connection I have to every character in the game. In terms of, if I had to be extremely specific, I would say, which character screams me? I don't know. Tobin, which character in Drawn to Death reminds you most of me? Okay, Tobin says Shark Girl.
No.
So okay.
No, most of you probably Alan.
And Tobin says Alan. They got the bear costume back. But I don't know. They all feel like me. So that's what I'll say.
Alan is amazing.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool.
Honestly, that was the first thing that came to mind. When he asked you that question, I was thinking it would be more like Alan.
Yeah, I could see that. He's kind of crazy, and my butt's nicer than Alan's, though. Because he runs around the game with his butt hanging out from the. That's all he's wearing is an apron in his butt. So, I'd like to say my ass is better than Alan's ass, damn it. But it's probably not even true. The artist who made Alan like, fuck you, man. That's not true. But I don't know. I guess Alan is the one.
Speaking of the characters, the last limited access that you guys had for the game, I unfortunately I missed it because that was my birthday weekend.
Always missing, man. Work.
I always keep track of your your website, and I seen a character that I was like, oh my goodness, who is this guy? Johnny Voltage. Is that like a skin or that's a character?
Well, no, that's a skin. So basically, we had a promotion around Comic-Con where if you played the game over that sort of convention weekend, anyone who played got Johnny Voltage, the skin for free, and all of the core characters that we launch with have sort of a superhero identity skin that will eventually dole out to players as we head towards launch. So Alan's got one who is Dr. Brainstorm, who basically doesn't have the rat head. He's got this giant bubble with a brain in a vat of liquid goo or some such, and they're all kind of like very classic 70s superhero costumes.
Yeah, I thought Johnny Vulture's the cool because that's the punk rocker Savage, right? Yeah,
that's right.
That was really cool, and I was so upset about that, missing that. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on?
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about it though is I'm a big Hearthstone player, and even though I wish I had everything, it's fun to look at those card backs sometimes and go, oh man, I wish I could have gotten that one, and kind of just it creates this sort of living game environment where you just got to kind of be on your toes and you never know when something's going to come available that you need to get online and get.
Cool. And also, I saw something on your YouTube channel where you guys were talking about is it a YouTube or is one of the forums? I know I've seen it where you guys are talking about a whitelist because due to the fact you guys are going to be, you're not going to have like a limited access or a beta for a long time now, from what I was understanding.
Yeah, and I was really upset by that. I told them it was racist. I said I couldn't believe it was just a whitelist, and they got really upset.
But yeah, I would like you guys to explain that whitelist because you said that people can still play the game.
Yeah, so what it is we had limited access, which was available to anybody who got a code and all that. And so now we're in kind of a deep dive, time of development where it's just us taking a lot of the feedback from that private access and making changes and tuning and all that. And so the private access is in effect shut down, but we have probably about 20 or 30 people who've been active on forums over the course of the last 6 to 8 months, and we haven't started yet. I think we're going to start Friday or next Monday. That we're going to play with them once or twice a week to give them updates so they can still help us tune the game and stuff. So it's like, hey, here's the change we've made to Uncle Joe, or here's the change who's a weapon in the game, or here's the change we've made to some of the aiming in the game. Let us know what you think. So that way, when it goes live, it's not like this stuff is coming to players without gamers out in the wild having gotten their hands on it.
Nice. That's cool. I like that. I like hearing stuff like that.
You got to know that it's a game like multiplayer. You've got to be constantly getting it out there for tests because balance is key to everything.
Yeah, because that's my next question to ask you guys. How do you guys feel about the balancing as of right now? Do you guys feel like it's in a comfortable spot, or that's just something that's always going to be adjusting?
I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I think we're probably 60 to 70% there. I think there are definitely some character mechanics and mechanics that might be either requiring of a buff or a nerf, but I think we'll definitely get to something that we would call really well balanced by the time we launch the game. I saw something on our forums though that really is it's really interesting to me. So I've never been like a big multiplayer Uncharted player. I like Uncharted a lot, but I've never not for any reason I never got into the multiplayer stuff. But somebody on the forums was talking about how, at least in their opinion, that game suffered from. It's like any time the forum said something, the team would tune it and adjust it, and in that, the game could never really hit its stride or find its voice when it comes to the way the multiplayer is tuned because it's always in flux. But on the flip side, you've got a game like Hearthstone where They will make changes, but it seems like they are very, very, very reticent to get in there and tune a card after it's been released. And eventually, if something is out there long enough and it's clear it's a problem, they'll make changes. And so for us, I see the value in both, and we're still trying to figure out what kind of a service we're going to be when it comes to responding to the forum, because it's so easy in this day and age for somebody to go on the forums and say, I hate this fucking weapon, it's not balanced, and like if one or two other people agree, it's just like I want to run to the programmers and say, quick, fix this, let's get it out tomorrow. And sometimes that's merited, but a lot of times it's like best to sort of just let it sit, because more often than not, I've seen people on the forums say something, and then they'll come back 2 or 3 weeks later after they've spent some time with it and go, no, I get what this is now, I like this. But first blush, it felt overpowered or underpowered. So you gotta just be careful to know when you want to, not only what knobs to flip and where to flip them, but when is the right time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That's one thing that a lot of games do suffer with. They will see a complaint, and it will be this one minor complaint. They will just change and rework the whole thing to mess it up for a lot of people that was enjoying the game.
Right.
I also see on Twitter a question you guys asked about, switching weapons as far as the gun click is like halfway or reloading or something like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're trying to figure out is that we basically have. I'll give you. There's a suite of weapons that fall into this category, but a good example would be one that we call the Fister, which is this bow and arrow, and you charge it up, and the more you charge it, obviously the more power it does, and you can charge it to the very end where the bow and arrow starts to glow red, and that will pretty much, it may not kill you with one hit, but it'll do huge amounts of damage. But if you don't fire it in time, it'll blow up in your face and do the damage to you. So the original design of that weapon was that, if you start to charge it, and you switch off the weapon to go to something else, it'll just fire the weapon off and you'll lose that bit of ammo. But it doesn't do that anymore. What a lot of players have taken to doing is charging it all the way, and if they don't have a shot, they just switch off and they switch right back to it, and there's no penalty for it. And so we're trying to figure out, on one hand, a lot of people used to play the game that way. There's a sense that that's sort of a strategic choice on their part, and it is. It feels like you're sort of taking advantage of the system to your game, and that's a good feeling. But there are also players out there that feel like it makes those weapons suffer because it doesn't have the negative consequences to account or to balance out the positive consequences. And so, yeah, we've reached out to the community, but we still haven't decided what we're doing about that yet. We have to kind of make a call and hope it's the right one.
Yeah, I was on the latter half of that as far as it kind of gives an unfair opportunity for it.
Right.
Somebody with an OP, charge weapon, and it's easy switching.
Well, and that's what's really hard is that there is no right answer, because literally I put a poll up on Twitter, and it's not half and half, but it's definitely, you've got compelling arguments on both sides, and you just have to hope you make the right call, and the people who don't like it at a conceptual level still like playing the game.
Okay, cool.
All right. We talked earlier about one of the moments where you may have gotten carried away as a dev team.
Right.
But what was one of your best moments where you realized this is what we wanted? When you finally realized this is what you really wanted to put out. Like, this was it. Did you have one of those moments?
I have those moments, I wouldn't say frequently, because that sounds like we're bragging or something, but when I'll sit with either, I'm playing in my house and I'm playing in private access, or when I'm playing here with the team, and there's a really close match, and you have moments where, like, let's say I'm playing Cyborgula and I'm flying around, and then you've got a guy playing Alan who activates his flying chainsaw, and now he's circling me, and we're both circling each other in the sky, and then I'm about to run out of power, and I switch to my sort of dash attack, and then I slam into him, and I do a bunch of damage, then we both fall to the ground, and I shoot him in the face with a shotgun, and I kill him, right? So when it's basically that hybrid, or the vision of the game, which is this hybrid of like a brawler meets a shooter, whenever we have those moments, or I'm in a match where those moments are really close, the match is really tight, and I am able to win or do well because I'm playing the game like both sort of a fighting game and a shooter, and the game actually rewards me with that because I win the match. That's when I feel like, okay, that is the essence of what we're trying to make. And so, it's nice to know for me that those moments occur more and more often as we go down the development path. They don't happen every match, which is unfortunate, but a lot of that is the nature of a multiplayer game. And sometimes, I tell people on the team, and I have to remind myself that, I get really excited about college football, and I don't have a lot to complain about when it comes to the design of football. But there are games that you are on the edge of your seat and they're exhilarating, and there are games of football where you're bored out of your mind. And that doesn't mean the game is bad. It just means that the people who are playing at that given moment, the alchemy is not setting off a situation where you're exhilarated. And that's always the hard part, is to figure out, is that because of something in the design that's flawed, or are you just having a match that's not that exciting and it has nothing to do with anything other than how the pieces came together for that particular game?
I'm glad you described it the way you did, because it lets people know that it's just not shooting bullets. You get a lot of games like, you can play Uncharted. For the most part, you're just shooting bullets. You can play Call of Duty. For the most part, you're just shooting bullets. But there's more to throwing a death than just shooting bullets. You have to be like really good at everything. Because trust me, I'm a person who doesn't do well in shooters. So
Right.
I tried to go around pulling the trigger, and I got killed a lot.
Right. Well, I appreciate you noticing that and saying that, and I'll tell you what has been hard about the game is that we have an exceptionally long time to kill with our characters. So, unlike most shooters today where you die in a couple of shots and then you respawn, you can survive, you can empty a clip into a guy with a machine gun, and he'll almost die, but he won't entirely die, and that's because we wanted to build, comebacks and the ability to hunt characters down and chase characters, and we also wanted to build certain kinds of abilities and attacks for the characters that do more damage than just a simple machine gun. And it's been really hard to get certain players who are used to more of a Call of Duty cadence to come in and drawn to death, because it looks like it should just be a shooter. And they pick it up and they're running around with a machine gun and they're going, what the fuck, I can't kill anybody, fuck this shit, I'm out. And so I love that for whatever reason the game was compelling enough for you to stick around to realize that it was actually different and more than that. But that is certainly a challenge we have, is communicating to players that it is not meant to be played the way you might pick up Call of Duty or Uncharted or Gears of War, for example.
I understand that.
Yeah, the game definitely. I remember like from when I first got in the private access beta that it was sort of leaning towards that way, but you guys have since made adjustments, because I remember a lot of people used to spam their freaking finger over and over like the hand of God.
Yeah.
You all have definitely made some changes to kind of not make it like a spam fest, a bullet spam fest.
Yeah, so now you get every battle you only can use the hand one single time, and so the hand functions offensively or defensively. So you can kind of go to town on one guy with the finger using the machine gun. You can do the mortar fire, it gets more targets, but it doesn't do as much damage. Or you can stab people, which actually takes points away from the bad guys, but it's the hardest move to do. And so again, in our core deathmatch, every time you die, you lose a point, and it's first to 5. And so again, we did that because we wanted to build the defensive aspect of the game. Most shooters, if you die, you're like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll just respawn and jump back in. And we definitely wanted to build defense as part of the game, which is why we take points away from you when you die. And so the hand comes in as a stat effect to really balance that out. If you're falling behind and you make sure to save that stab for the last part of the game, you can really turn the tables when it looks like it's kind of game over for you.
Yeah, that's one of the things I definitely I like, and I think it's different, to bring to the table.
Cool.
Yeah. One question I do have, with this game being free to play, actually 2 questions. Is there any chance that you guys have any idea as far as like how the currency system is going to go?
I know exactly how the currency system is going to go. But
Okay.
I mean, it's all thought out and planned out and been planned out for quite some time. How come?
Oh. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
maybe I don't understand your question. Are you saying? I mean, I understand what the currency system is. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, just like as far as the prices, because last time I did play, I mean, it may have changed because I've missed a few of the private accesses. But
Okay.
I remember like the currency, like it was some that you can earn in game, and then it was some that you actually have to use real money for and stuff like that. So with the ones that you have to use real money for, like would that also go into like cosmetic changes and stuff like that, or would that be also like applied to like the weapons and whatnot?
So it's both, but it's no weapon. There are no weapon upgrades. There are no character upgrades. So every weapon that's available that we have in the game that you can buy with either virtual currency or real money, all of those are available right at the beginning. So it's not like you have to level up and get good at the game to get the good weapons. And even none of the weapons get leveled up. It's not like your machine gun ever gets any better, and you give it a scope and all this stuff. It's basically every weapon has pros and cons, and they're balanced against each other. And so again, it goes back to sort of wanting, or definitely wanting, to be a skill-based competitive game, and never have somebody win simply because they have better equipment, which I think is. It's utter bullshit, and it's bad game design, and we really want no part of it at all, and Drawn to Death. And so far, that's the game we've made, and anytime we fuck that up, it's just because we got the balancing wrong, and we'll change it as soon as we know about it.
That's what's up. And another question, because I've been wondering this, I'm not sure if it's kind of bothersome to you, for a lot of people to kind of always associate you when it comes to games like God of War and Twisted Metal, but is there any chance that we would have like maybe some type of Easter eggs in regards to like maybe those characters and whatnot?
Well, first off, it's not bothersome. I mean, the fact that I've been fortunate enough to be associated with those games, and if no other game I ever work on, I hope all the games we work on are successful in a similar way or an even bigger way. But if nothing we ever do touches those, I'll still consider myself, grateful to have been associated with games that have made a lot of people happy. So I never mind hearing about them or talking about them. But yes, there are a couple of cameos from both God of War and Twisted Metal. Not very big. It's not like you have Kratos running around as a character yet. Maybe you will one day. I can't imagine we won't try to do that. It seems like a no-brainer. But at the moment, there are definitely sort of eagle-eyed players will notice a number of really cool things in the background and things you can interact with that are definitely tied to some of those games for sure.
Nice. Going back, to the free-to-play aspect things, because, a lot of people, when they see free-to-play, they get this bad stigma. It's like, oh my goodness, it's going to be pay to win.
Right.
All these questions come to people's minds. And I know you kind of hinted the previous question, but I just want to give the people a clear idea on how you guys are planning to, quench that stigma of a bad free-to-play game, or it's going to end up costing us more money than what it really is. That bad stigma. How you guys plan to get rid of that?
Well, again, I mean, it's the nice thing is it's free, right? So you can I can say trust me, but you don't really have to. You just have to trust me with your time a little bit and read some reviews. But I can't stomach that. I can't handle that. There's nothing about that that's good game design, and there's nothing about that that I want to have as part of what I leave behind as a designer. I think free-to-play, pay-to-win is disgusting. And so for us, it's the best parts of free-to-play are that we get, hopefully a large audience who are willing to give a game like this a try that otherwise wouldn't. But because all of the weapons are balanced, because all the characters are balanced, because everything that we sell, it's not just that you can buy everything with virtual currency or real currency. It's the fact that nothing, even if everything was free or everything was for sale, with real money only, no weapon is meant to be better than any other weapon. It's not like you're buying power. we're selling cosmetic stuff, we're selling gameplay mechanics, but they're all meant to be pro and con and different. We're even selling levels, but we're selling levels in a way that don't split the user base. So we're basically taking sort of a variation of what Mario Kart 8 did. And so if you buy a level and no one else has it, the way it works is after each match you can put up a level for a vote, and then there's 4 players, and then there's like a wheel that spins, and the more people that vote on the level, the better the chances the wheel will land on their level, although there's no guarantee. And I can put up a level that you don't own, and you can say, oh, Jaffe's got a cool, cavern level, and you can vote on a level that you don't own that I've put up. And so it never splits the user base. You never have to have the level owned in order to play it. And so that kind of thought and that kind of desire to be competitive and skill-based only permeates all of the business model of the game. And, I've heard enough people go on and try to sell their free-to-play games, and then the game comes out and the proof is not in the pudding, it is pay-to-win. So I would say if you don't believe me, I don't blame you. I wouldn't believe me either, given what a lot of people have said. But it's free, so give it a shot, and I assure you we're not lying.
Yeah, because a lot of people that have played the game, ourselves, we're a living testimonies that we can say that this game, is one of the good free-to-play games because you can earn everything in-game, and the weapons and everything is balanced where you're not feeling like you got to pay your money to be this OP character because that's not implemented in the game.
Awesome. Well, I love that you guys feel that because that's how we feel as well, and that's the only kind of game we're interested in making. I always compare free-to-play as being as stupid as making a game like chess. And you and I sit down to play chess, and you basically spend a lot of money to get a queen that has a machine gun. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's so disrespectful to game design and to the customer that I can't stand it.
Oh man, you imagine chess like?
I know. Well, it probably sounds like a good game, but that's if we both have queens that have machine guns, then I'm in. But if only you do, then fuck it, no.
Yeah.
I would pay the 60, just to let you know. I would put up that 60 for Drawn to Death.
Yeah, because that's one thing I'm questioning too. Because honestly, Drawn to Death, you can easily put a price on it, and I think people will come to it. Especially you have a name behind it. When people see David Jaffe, people's going to automatically look towards it. You know what I mean?
They might. I mean, you may or may not be surprised that and I get it because the costs are so high in games, but the number of people who really make purchasing and playing decisions based on the development team behind it. I mean, they're an incredibly important part of the industry, but when it comes to the amount or the volume of sales you have to do, most people they just understandably as they should, they kind of look to their friends, they look on social media, they look at the reviews, and that's what makes their decision. So for us, it's every game we make is we have to sing for our supper, and hopefully we'll have enough players who really want to play it.
Sweet.
All right. I don't know if you have any future DLC, or like seasonal stuff planned, but it would be cool to see like on an expansion of Drawn to Death, you pick another kid. So you've already been in this one kid's mind. So you might pick a kid over, say, another race or a girl even. But that would be crazy to play inside the mind of a girl, seeing how the mind of a boy is. I'm pretty sure playing inside the mind of a female would be crazy.
I don't know, but I can tell you that it's a cool idea. I can tell you that the first thing, we definitely have DLC planned, and we have plans to sort of, be a service-based game as long as the audience is there. And one of the things we'll be doing soon after launch is, so the whole game you're playing this kid, the 16, 17-year-old kid in high school, and, the characters in the notebook have their own stories and lives, and then the kid that you see through his writing and doodles and things, you also sort of learn what his personal life is like. And one of the things you realize early on is that he has a little sister who's like 4, and there are times in the game in DLC where you will see characters and levels where she basically sneaks into his room and starts doodling with crayons in his notebook. And so there's a whole bunch of DLC coming that's sort of based around the stuff the little sister draws.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
the one thing when I first saw this game, I quickly related to this game because it just had me reminiscing about how I was in like junior high, and I'm drawing my little stickman having war and all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, this is really cool and it's really unique. I never seen somebody do this with a video game. So that was one thing that just drawing my eye towards this game. And
Cool.
I really compliment you guys in that because that's really amazing to see,
Awesome.
especially in a gaming industry now that a lot of people will repeat after each other and do things that the other devs might have done because it might be successful. It's good to see that you guys are taking like a huge risk with this, doing something different.
I just don't really think I don't think as a human I'm built to do anything else other than I'm just that's the only kind of game development that interests me is doing something neat and interesting to me and the team. If somebody said, "Hey, Jaffe, you guys go make the next Call of Duty. Here's the franchise." I mean, we'd be idiots to say no financially, but personally, I would have zero interest in working on a game like that. Not out of anything negative about those. They're wonderful quality and amazing games, and millions of people love them as they should. For me, I don't think I would have anything to add because it's already been done a million times really, really well.
Yeah.
Right, and it wouldn't allow you to pretty much, expand your creativity.
Yeah, I think so. There's a very narrow box I think you'd have to color within, and that's just not my cup of tea.
All right, I got a few community questions here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna spit at you. Just answer the best way you can. But Trace Scenario G asks about modes in the game. And he asks, could you add a King of the Hill game mode?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I do know what that means, but I don't know what he means specifically, so it's hard to answer. We're always working on new modes. We have the current game is going to launch with deathmatch, team deathmatch, and they're not just straight up like I said earlier. It's a defensive version of deathmatch where deaths cost you points, suicides cost points, and then we have a mode called Organ Donor, which is a lot of fun. Where you basically kill enemies and they leave their hearts behind on the battlefield, and you have to collect them and then deposit them in bases, and certain bases are moving and they're worth more points, and that's really fun. And then we're working on a team mode now. In terms of King of the Hill, if they just basically mean hold this spot, we're working on a variation of that. I don't think I'm that interested in us doing sort of straight-up modes that you've played somewhere else unless the mechanics of our moment-to-moment shooting and brawling bring a flavor to a mode that would feel fresh. But we don't want to just do modes that make you feel like you've already had that experience in other games. But certainly King of the Hill is sort of a base, one of the main vocabulary words in the language of multiplayer design. Yeah, I think you'll definitely see aspects of that in future modes.
Okay, cool. I have another question here from Thanos Salvador.
Okay.
He asks, are developers only as good as the dev kits?
Well, a good developer, a good group of game creators, should be able to make a great game regardless. And you should, it's not about the technology. The technology is a means to an end. The technology is there to help the developer entertain people through play mechanics. And so I think a good developer understands the limitations of the hardware and works within those limitations. But unless you're talking just graphics or just special effects, a good game is a good game, and the technology, the vast majority of the time, not always, but the vast majority of the time, is really irrelevant if you're talking about pure gameplay. If you're talking about, making a world that's meant to look photoreal, then sure, that's a very different thing. But most of the stuff I work on is very gameplay and mechanic centric, where that stuff kind of doesn't matter.
Okay. It seems like a lot of people is hinting that they would love the idea of, having Easter eggs of other characters, especially some of the characters like characters that you especially created like Sweet Tooth and Kratos.
Right.
It's a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. But do you see yourself like adding the Sony related characters? Since this game is like a PlayStation 4 exclusive, do you see like a cameo being in there somehow?
I think a lot of it depends on how successful we are. I mean, like I said, we definitely have Kratos makes an appearance in the game, Sweet Tooth makes an appearance in the game, just as sort of a background thing or whatever. You can interact with it a little bit, but the only way we'll ever get something like a Nathan Drake or one of the characters from I don't know Jack and Daxter or whatever. Sly Cooper or whatever, is probably if the game is successful enough that those are really easy for us to reach out to the other studios and they say, yeah, of course, we'd love to be involved. But it's like anything else. I mean, the studios have a great, understandable protection over the IP that their studio, really controls, and they don't just sort of hand that shit out like candy. It's got to make sense. And so, but I definitely think a kid of this guy's age who's drawing in his notebook is just, it would make total sense that he's being influenced by the popular culture, and the stuff he's drawing is based on that, which would obviously include PlayStation. So that would be awesome if we could do stuff like that down the road.
Okay, cool. That would be definitely cool. Just PlayStation fans like, oh wow, these guys are in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And we have a question here from Pixel Protocol.
Okay. Oh, I know Pixel. He's active on the forums.
Yeah, he's asking about the GIF taunt creator.
Yeah.
And asking, will that be coming free, or will you have to pay for the ability to do layers?
We haven't decided that yet. I have to imagine, even though this is not official, I'm just thinking out loud, but I think we would be foolish if we did not charge for the ability to buy taunts that you could then create your own. I think it makes sense in a game like this where we're going out of our way not to monetize the stuff that hurts gameplay. I think it's safe to assume that we will try to monetize as much stuff as we can that is purely cosmetic, that you don't have to have for gameplay, but would just be fun to fuck around with. And that seems like a perfect fit for that.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty fair. I wouldn't be mad at that either. Having custom stuff, you pay for that.
Yeah, we got to pay for something.
Yeah, and we got a question here from Braxton Gamer. He's a real fan of Twisted Metal, and he's asking, will there be a Twisted Metal game coming to the PS4?
Did you say the PS4? I don't think so. I mean, I don't have any information about that, and I would tell you that if there was, I would be really surprised, because I think certainly if somebody were to say, hey, Jaffe, work on a new Twisted Metal 4, and they were to say you can make it sort of a small game, I think the universe still has a great deal of potential. Like, I would love to do something with Sweet Tooth. I'd love to do a different kind of game. But if you're talking just card combat, I think it would only make sense if you were talking about 4 levels, 6 vehicles, 10 weapons, and you release it digital only. And then it doesn't cost a lot to make or buy. And if it catches on, you just start adding stuff. But I think the day of a full retail release of a brand new Twisted Metal game, I can't see that being, in this day and age, financially smart. I don't see that happening.
Okay. And we have a question here, once again, from Trace Scenario G.
Okay.
Does Drawn to Death has voice chat enabled in the game?
It does. It's you do it through the party system. So you basically get so basically if you're in a session and you go into a game with that person and you can invite your friends or whatever, whether it's a friendly game or you're playing in a ranked game, you can absolutely do voice chat. It's part of the overall Sony operating system, or the PS4 operating system. It's not it's not native to the actual Drawn to Death software, but it works. It's designed to work with that. So yes, it does.
Okay. And last community question we have here, the granddaddy of them all, is Drawn to Death close to announcing a release date?
I believe we are. I think we're very close to announcing a release date. I mean, it's not. We won't be announcing in the next 2 weeks, but we're definitely right now. We're sort of taking advantage of the time post private access to really kind of take all the data and do what we can in the time we have to sort of make the game better based off the community feedback. And then once we know how much effort that's going to take, we'll be able to calculate how much more time we need to finish, and then we'll use that to announce a release date. So it is absolutely soon. It's not like it's going to, we're not going to drop it on people like you're going to turn on your PlayStation next Tuesday and it's like, holy shit, it's Drawn to Death. I mean, there will be a ramp up to release, but we will announce the date. We just haven't done that yet, but we will announce it soon.
No surprise release date.
I mean, unless Sony decides at the last minute to do that, but I know right now we're not planning on doing that. I know the game will be at PAX, I think next week or the next week, and I don't think we'll be announcing release date then, but maybe hopefully very soon after we'll be able to let people know when it's coming out.
Okay, cool. Kev, anybody has any last questions before we wrap it up?
This may be a little bit of a tricky question. Any thoughts on the PlayStation Neo?
PlayStation, it's not tricky. I mean, what do you mean? Like thoughts? Like what do I think about it if it's a real thing, or what do you mean?
Yeah, if it's a real thing, or how powerful is it? Stuff like that. I don't know.
I mean,
it's worth a shot.
No, I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't think it's that controversial. I think it's going to be interesting, both with if the Neo is real, which I have to assume it is, but and the what's the Scorpio is what the Xbox one's called.
Yeah.
The idea of that I think is it's pretty interesting. I don't, as a gamer and a fan, I don't feel the need for an upgrade for my hardware right now. But I think that's a neat undertaking, and I don't, like I said, I'm really more about the gameplay and the concepts. I don't really care about, the graphics are great, but today's amazing graphics are look like shit next year. So it's just kind of like whatever. I don't really follow those conversations about hardware power and all that stuff. So I mean, I've heard people talk about it. It could be cool, but it's just not on my radar, frankly.
Okay.
Okay, cool. There you guys have it. That is David Jaffe's opinion on the PlayStation Neo. Well, David.
It's pretty much apathy. I don't care.
David, to wrap it up, do you have any last thoughts? Your last pitch to tell the PlayStation Nation, guys, Drawn to Death, when it drops, you should be playing this game.
I used to be that guy where I want to give you the strong pitch. Social media being what it is, the internet being what it is. I mean, if the concept of a hybrid brawler shooter that is strategic and deep and skill-based and competitive, if that in any way seems interesting, when we start coming out with reviews and stuff and Let's Plays and all that, check it out. I think you'll find it refreshing. I think you'll find it really deep and tactful in a world of shooters that are wonderful, but they just feel different. So we hope you'll give it a shot and take a chance on it. We love it. We're proud of it, and we hope you'll dig it too.
Oh, I already love it. I'm ready for more.
Good. Well, hopefully you'll like the new version as soon as we release the next version.
Yeah, I was so pissed when I got back home and I pressed X to launch the game. It was like, no, limited access over. I was like, no. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Well, we're doing it. It'll be better. The game will be better for it.
That's cool, man. But David, it was definitely a pleasure having you on here.
Cool,
I really
man.
do
It's fun
appreciate
talking to you guys. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming. You know, this is something that we definitely wanted to do for the longest, and I'm just happy that it finally happened, and finally happened happy to televise. You know, Drawn to Death. You know, through your words as well. You know?
Cool. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it, and let's chat soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys.
hopefully PSX.
All right.
If
Absolutely.
you guys wanna check out Drawn to Death, I'll be leaving all the links in the description on the website, the forums, all that good stuff, the YouTube page, all that good stuff will be in the description, so you guys can check out Drawn to Death. And hopefully you guys enjoy the interview. The council, we are out of here. Thank you guys.
Peace.